Brian Kelly and his 4-0 LSU Tigers head out to Mississippi to take on Lane Kiffen and his 4-0 Ole Miss Rebels. This is a fantastic SEC matchup. This is a game where we can expect to see a lot of good defense and some good offense. Now, when you talk about these huge SEC matchups that are ranked, that have very large playoff implications, a lot of the time you want to first talk about the quarterbacks, but I want to go to the meat and potatoes of this thing, the defensive line, because both of these teams bolster such a number of uniquely talented individuals. And why would we not start off with Blake Baker and what he has done for that LSU defense? He has these guys playing at a top 5 level in the country, not just up front, but the way they're able to feed on the off-ball linebacker spots. West, Whit Weeks, the Weeks brothers playing at a crazy high level. Harold Perkins, everyone wants to talk about him. And the secondary, Mansour Delane. This team is loaded on the defensive side of the ball. And what is the main difference between this year compared to the past 2 years? It's confidence. When they see a running back heading towards that gap, they immediately go down and hit them. It's pretty simple. They're not missing tackles. They're not having blown coverages all over the place. And even though the offense hasn't quite produced to a level that they might have expected, hasn't changed anything in the sense of what the mentality has been for LSU. They've been dominant up front, getting pressure on the quarterback, using their playmakers like Perkins in ways to be able to put him in the best possible spot. There's not many guys that can fly around like that. That's why I have a very high amount of confidence in LSU for this game, because when you face that mobile quarterback that Ole Miss has, you have a type of player, a chess piece that not many do, that can run sideline to sideline with him and limit the production on the ground. Now for Ole Miss, I really want to talk about that D-line, because they had to replace the production of Walter Nolan, of Princely Umanmielen. Well, it's nice when you can bring in Princewell Umanmielen, who looks to be a nice rotational player on that Ole Miss front. Haven't even seen Suntarine Perkins show up and have a huge impact yet. That Ole Miss defense, though, on the outside, that's particularly where my eyes are looking, right? Because there's no Trey Amos. We're looking at those defensive backs. Who's able to step up for this team? Because that LSU squad, immediately you're thinking about, well, they haven't exactly performed at a high level in that matchup against Clemson or that game against Florida. Well, this is a completely different animal here. Completely different animal. This game at Ole Miss will come down to, I guarantee it, Garrett Nussmier having to make a throw on a third down, because he's got the weapons. Nick Anderson, Aaron Anderson, Barryon Brown. They have the guys to be able to find for Garrett Nussmier to get the ball off. But where Ole Miss has the advantage immediately is that, well, LSU hasn't quite been able to run the football all that well. And we have some athletes in our own that can come down and hit those gaps. I'm looking really highly at TJ Daughtery. He's been really good. Jaden Yates. These guys for the Ole Miss defense, they have been wrapped short tacklers. They will need to do that. LSU, you can see the production they had last week. They had a nice bounce back from a bit of a rough performance against Florida. Didn't play the way that they wanted to. Caden Durham's been the main back for them, but fully haven't gotten him going. Still, though, they were under 4 yards a carry in their win last week against Southeast Louisiana, right? They only had 135 yards rushing on 35 carries. Now, the way that the game operated, of course, they could have won that game 102 to 17. It wouldn't have mattered. But the run game, that's one of those particular stats you kind of circle in this one, where I'm like, all right, Ole Miss, if they can get Garrett Nussmier into 2nd and 6 instead of 2nd and 4, if it's 3rd down and 5 instead of 3rd down and 2, how much of a big... I'm not talking about the difference between 2nd and 3 or 3rd and 8. This is going to be a game where we see a lot of mid-range 3rd downs, where Garrett Nussmier will have to find an Aaron Anderson over the middle of the field to pick up the 1st down. And frankly, when I look at this, I see really evenly matched teams. LSU fans might be sitting here thinking that their team is so much uniquely more talented, that they have all of these guys and these weapons. They just haven't looked up and down that Ole Miss roster. The talent is pretty much equated in this game. Now, the advantage, of course, for LSU is that they've got a quarterback that has a lot more experience than what Ole Miss is providing back there, and I get it. But when you have a Harrison or Wallace to throw the football to, it certainly makes things a whole lot different. This guy has been fantastic for Ole Miss. Immediately, my eyes are going there. He needs to get the ball early and often in this game. Deuce Alexander, Daquan Wright have a number of players that are dynamic with the football in their hands, getting them their chances. Dijon Stribling, I mean, the weapons are there. You can almost even see a little bit of that offense a year ago with Jackson Dart, having Trey Harrison, that connection, just high-flying everywhere. But they ran the football pretty well. And so far this year, you look at Ole Miss and you're like, oh yeah, we've ran the football pretty well too. Kawan Lacey on the season, he's just a touchdown machine. Even Logan Tiggs, some carries, but the running game of the quarterback is really what it will come down to, in my opinion. Well, they have success of the quarterback running. And now, the recording of this video, I keep saying quarterback, I don't know. Chambliss, Austin Simmons, who is it going to be? The health status is currently a question mark. If I had to say, I would be wagering that it's Trinidad Chambliss trotting out there. But the athletic profile, the arm strength, it's quite similar. Austin Simmons a little bit bigger, a bit stronger when it comes to those categories. But with the way Chambliss has played the last couple of weeks in this environment, it's at home. It's not like it's at Death Valley. I'm expecting him to go out there and play. And frankly, if you're an LSU team preparing for them, the difference, of course, will be a righty versus a lefty. Right, you have to prepare for, we're trying to push this guy to the other side. If it's Austin Simmons, you want him rolling to his right side. If it's Trinidad Chambliss, you want him rolling to his left, getting them off of their spot. So if you're rushing Harold Perkins, you can, particularly if you're Blake Baker, deciding where you want to send him from in that star position, it really kind of depends. It'll be rotated depending on the quarterback who's in the game and coming in. And that's why I have a lean for LSU. I know that he's the only guy named Harold Perkins in football and has those types of athletic abilities. But truly, I do think that his freak athleticism and nature has him not just as an X factor, but a key piece of how he can limit Ole Miss. Now, is he going to have any games this season where he's got 11 tackles or he's got 3? No, he's not going to show up like that, but it's impacting where the eyes of the quarterback are, impacting where the protection is going to rotate because he is on the field. These types of players change games. Immediately, my mind thinks of a Dallas Turner, a Will Anderson, an Abdul Carter, some of these really dynamic players. And Abdul Carter, who started off as an off-ball player and then coming up to the edge. We haven't seen that from Harold Perkins. They've kept him off the ball, or he can affect every single play on the field. Now, as far as a lean and who I think that will come out and win this game, I do think that LSU, when it stacks up, has the advantage in the trenches to be able to go out there and win this one. I am concerned about the run game. We'll see it in effect, but the way Trinidad showed up this past week, that certainly was a very nice performance. But Garrett Nussmier, 25 of 31, 273, 2 touchdowns, went out there and balled. We were waiting for that performance. He's had that injury he's been dealing with, hasn't quite looked fully healthy, so that's been sort of the capped potential. We've been waiting for him to let it loose, but he certainly did that this past week. Now the competition, don't have to talk about or talk down about them, but we saw him play against Florida. Looked a little bit shaky. Didn't make the throw you wanted him to. A really bad interception in that game against Clemson. Decent. So this is it. Like, this is a game. Garrett Nussmier, people have talked about him. Heisman ability, Heisman potential. New York can be in his future. This is where we see it. Because if he has an off game against Ole Miss, doesn't play well, winds up with 186 passing yards, a touchdown and a pick, and LSU, even if they win 21-18 or they lose in any manner or fashion, it's just not at all where the expectations were for LSU coming into the season, where they thought the offense would be here, and clearly it is a little bit lower than that. But again, opportunity. This show, Blitz with Blender, is all about opportunity. These guys go out there, not prove us wrong, because I believe that they can play well. I believe that LSU is going to win this game 24-21, but go out there and prove that you can do what you believe that you can. Now for Ole Miss, I am fired up for this team and their outlook for the rest of the season. I've always liked the fight that they have. It was just so tough seeing them lose late in the season last year. The schedule is pretty dang favorable, I'll tell you. Besides this one, you're staring at Georgia and at Oklahoma, but that's kind of it. This is why this game is pretty huge. I'm not going so far as to wagering the winner of this game is in a perfect driver's seat to make the college football playoff, and the loser of this game is eliminated because they're both sitting at 4-0, favorable spots where they do have a little bit of that buffer. But from as deep as this conference has looked, I don't think 3 losses gets you in, and you need to be at 2. You need to be at that 2 spot if you want to have a chance this season. So a huge game that Ole Miss wants. You don't want to have to go to Georgia and have to come out with a win, or at Oklahoma the way those teams have looked. It would be nice if just splitting those would be okay, a win against LSU came in from before. So 24-21, let me know down below in the comments who you have winning this game. Fascinated to hear from you guys. Fired up for this matchup. SEC play is in full swing, and we get to talk about these consistently every single week. So excited for that. Let me know down below in the comments. Please make sure to subscribe for more football content in the future. I make NFL, college football videos every single day. So fired up. Football season is still back, and we get to start previewing some huge ranked matchups. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Appreciate it.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blunder, hi everybody, I'm Josh Blunder.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.